Welcome to Diversity Conversations, where we engage in thought-provoking dialogue to identify leadership solutions to today's most challenging conflicts. Streamed live each week, Saturday 9:30 a.m. to 11 a.m. Hosted by Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Strategist and CEOs Eric Ellis and Tommy Lewis. Join us and add your voice to this engaging diversity conversation.
Good morning, Greater Cincinnati, Northern Kentucky, the United States, and the world. My name is Eric Ellis, and I'm joined by my good friend and brother,
Tommy Lewis, President, CEO of Make It Plain Consulting. Good morning, Eric.
Good morning, Tommy. How are you, my friend?
Hey, all is well. All is well. Great morning once again, and great to be with you all, with you and our audience and community today.
Absolutely, absolutely, man. You know, we start the way we always start. How was your week, man? Give us a rundown. That week has been going like this. I see you, baby.
Yeah. So we're getting some softball pitches that we're hitting out of the park.
Woo!
And happy about that, Eric.
Right.
We're really doing some great work again, fine-tuning some of our solutions, Eric.
Right.
Where, you know, sometimes the things we did 2 or 3 or maybe even 5 years ago, they may be new to some people, but for us, it's old. So we always want to stay fresh.
Right.
So we stay up with our reading, we stay up on our research and our trends, and we tweak some of our delivery such that it ultimately yields to an immediate kind of takeaway or result. Mm-hmm. We want to make sure that people walk away from any interaction with us at Make It Plain and myself with either something learned or something to share.
Okay.
Right. Because sometimes things like, hey, I know that, but I know my team doesn't know it.
Right.
And so that's how the week has been. Always, it's never enough time in a day in a week, Eric.
Right.
You know that, but
right.
All is well. All is well. How about you?
Excellent, man. Well, I'll tell you, Tommy, fantastic week, man. I'll tell you, one of the changes that we've experienced in the last 4 or 5 years is that we're getting more clients now that want to do the full body of work around DEI. And I'm so grateful, man, that I've got several clients that have engaged us. We work with clients, Tommy, in phases because I say to them that you have to make sure that you are working with the right partner. So we don't want to say partner with us forever. We want to say, let's work in phases. You know, let's start with a sort of an initial overview webinar, you know, some assessment around the leadership, and then pause and evaluate that. You all go huddle up over there and talk about how was this experience? Do we feel like we're working with the right consulting partner? Tommy, you and I are not afraid of that, are we?
Not at all.
We're not afraid of the client taking a strong and good look at us to make sure that we're the right fit. Now, the majority of the time, that's the case. Quietly, you and I are doing the same thing as we think about them, right?
Yes.
Is this the right fit for us and what we're trying to accomplish? So, and then we'll move into phase 2, which we define as that current state sort of analysis. And we'll look at their entire organization. And we do 3 things that we're looking at, Tommy. One, we will engage in an inclusion survey. Within that inclusion survey that we're doing across all their workforce, we got 3 sections. Section 1 looks at things like belonging, voice, you know, inclusion. How do I feel? What are my perceptions? Section 2 looks at their perceptions of fairness and equity around pay, promotions, feedback. And then section 3 we call uniqueness, where we are really looking at the demographics to make sure that we can compare people based upon department, you know, level, race, gender, sexual orientation, those kind of things. And then we follow that with the second thing is focus groups. So we get the digital survey, then we do focus groups to do a deeper dive. And then the third thing we do is a systems and processes analysis, where we're looking at all of their systems, Tommy, to really dig in, man, to looking at how they're operating. And then we sort of come back to them with sort of a report, you know, about what we've learned. So this week we had 3 of those, man, where we reported to organizations the strengths that we identified and the gaps that exist as a result of all this body of work, man. And they were on the edge of their seat, man, waiting to learn about their organizations. The good news is, Tommy, there is good news and there's things to celebrate. We want to let organizations know, hey, here's what's working well for you. Sort of deploy that in other places. Here are the gaps that exist. We can close those. So, Tommy, I'm just thrilled, man, that we've had the opportunity now this last week to present all that news to 3 CEOs and their executive teams, man. And so we're now looking at that plan to close those gaps, man. So, really excited about that. Also doing our executive search work. And you and I talked about this throughout the week, man. Don't tell me there is no sufficient talent of color, BIPOC talent out there, man.
Right.
Oh, my goodness, man. We finalized sort of a search with the team, and we were in there with the talent team as they were interviewing our candidates, probably 5 of them. At the end, man, they couldn't even decide which one. Like all candy everywhere, all over the ground.
Yeah.
Amazing people. And I was just watching them, man, as they were just watching these powerful, brilliant, sharp, articulate thought leaders and say any one of these could do an amazing job with us. So, Tommy, man, I'm just excited about that, man. And the family stuff, man, really, Judy had an amazing week, man. She's succeeding on her new job, man. And, just thrilled, man. I got no complaints at all.
Now, I'm very, very happy to hear the news. Not only the approach that you're taking from a business perspective, but also how you're, bringing immediate value to clients, especially in that search space.
Yeah.
Really myth busting, Eric. You're doing that.
Woo!
So there are a lot of quote unquote Michael Jordans out there on the bench, in the audience.
Right.
There are Michael Jordan's type of talent in the audience. And and waiting to be challenged, right?
Come on now.
You doing all that talking in the stands. Why don't you come down here? That's all I needed to hear.
Woo! I love the way you said it. Man, say that again, man. Come on now.
All that talent up in the stands, right? And folks on the court, they looking up. You doing all that talking. Why don't you come down here and show me what you got?
Right.
I'm glad you asked.
I'm glad you asked.
They stand up and they have rip-away jerseys.
I love that.
For this moment, right? Been waiting,
right?
And just to kind of put a bow around that statement, Eric, we've learned, and research says that employees who are trained to do certain jobs and they're trained well can do those jobs very, very well.
Right.
They're skilled. They're trained well. However, people are always evolving.
Right.
So people's passions, right, might not always coincide with their skilled training in that moment after 30 years.
Right.
Right. So what does that mean? I've been an engineer working behind a computer for 30 years, but you don't know that I love interacting with people.
Right.
I'm a great salesperson.
Right.
I'm engaging with folks on the golf course, at the soccer games, at the football games. And you never asked me, did I want to go into sales? I can move our organization to the next level.
Come on, say
from
it.
A technical perspective, as an engineer,
right,
I know that process.
Right.
But I can also speak to the human nature of people.
Right.
And so that's what talent research and talent management is looking at. Those are those folks in the stands.
Right.
Right. That we're not really paying attention to, be it BIPOC, or people of color, things of that nature. Right. So, not to go too far down that path, but you struck a nerve with the work that you're doing, and it's phenomenal work, E.
Well, thank you. We want to say good morning to our community. Dr. Reggie, we're so glad to see you here, man. Good morning.
Yes, sir.
And I love the article that you sent me. I sent it to Tommy, and we're going to try to get you back on, man, in the next week or so to talk about that article that you co-authored. That was phenomenal. Tommy, let's go back to last week, man. I've had a lot of people weigh in on last week's show. They were moved by 90-year-old Dr. Virgil A. Wood. If you are listening to Tommy and I today and you didn't see the show from last week, you got to go back because Dr. Wood had something that he was laying down, wasn't he, Tommy?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And so I just wanted for a minute to reflect on what is the gift of Dr. Wood. What are the takeaways for us from our conversation with him last week?
I'll say three things very quickly. Turn it back over to you, Eve, for your reaction as well. I'm gonna start at a more philosophical perspective, if you don't
Okay.
mind. We have to remember that this gentleman, Dr. Wood, is 90 years old.
Right.
His mental dexterity is still popping, right? So in other words, from a philosophical perspective, he is really coming into the blessing of God
Mm,
through his past experience of life,
right.
and then sometimes his his lack of patience, which is
Right.
okay, right?
Right.
Hey, I'm
Lack
90
of
years
patience.
old. We gotta get that thing done now.
Like, shut up. I gotta talk. Because
Yep.
I ain't got that many years.
I don't get that many years, right? And I know what
Mm,
I know. I haven't lost my mind,
right.
literally. I haven't
Right.
lost my mind. So we want to keep that in mind for those like myself who are not 90 years old when I believe that I'm overwhelmed with things on my mind. I
Wow.
still have my mind. So I don't want to take that for granted,
Wow.
right?
Tommy, let me go back to what you said about a lack of patience. Uh, I think that Tommy, in some ways, that resembles something that you and I are familiar with.
Yeah.
As great as he is, being in a world, back to what you said the last time, where you're sitting up in the stands and not enough people are actually calling you onto the game floor.
Yeah.
And so when you've been as brilliant as he's been, and he's accomplished, there's no way to take anything away from his accomplishments. But I would suggest, Tommy, that he's been undervalued. And so after a while, man, you're sitting in a world of average voices and nobody's tapping you enough.
Yeah.
And so you just lose patience with waiting for people to see the gifts that you're trying to present. And so we see that in him. But I would say this, Tommy, just for those that may not remember, that he is a visionary. He called me up, just to recap. He called me up about a month and a half ago, said, is this Eric Ellis? Yes, sir, this is. This is Dr. Virgil Wood. Do you know who I am? No, sir, I don't. He said, well, let me read what you wrote in your book when you signed it for me. While he did that, I was Googling him and found out that he was described by Dr. King as his teacher. So here we are in the presence of a man that Dr. King described as his teacher. And he said that, God had put me on his heart, and there's some things that we're supposed to do together. Now, Tommy, I want to make it relevant to you and I right now. For those of you that weren't with us last week, Dr. Wood said, this is a marvelous thing that you brothers are doing here. He said, oh my goodness, this is amazing. He said, you've got to not do this just one day a week. He said, you got to do Thursday night. He said, with the family. He said, you've got to do, Benjamin Mays, I think he might have said.
Yeah.
He said, Saturday afternoon, you got to do it. Rosa Parks, Big Mama. He said, and then on Sunday night, he said, you've got to do Dr. Martin Luther King and inspiration. And he began to lay out a vision. And when Tommy and I first heard that, we both were saying in our minds, oh my goodness, bro, we just trying to get through this one show in the week. I mean, come on now. You calling us to 3 nights. You can't do that. But here's the lesson that I took away from it. And then Tommy, I'm gonna turn it back to you. Number one, I started thinking about the fact that you and I, we may not want to accept it or own it sometimes, but sometimes we're controlling. And so the analogy that I'm gonna give people is that you got 3 chickens, and you're petting those 3 chickens, you're grooming them, you're washing them by hand, and you're watching them and walking behind those 3 chickens. And all the while you're dreaming about a farm. But all you're doing is falling around these 3 chickens dreaming about a farm. And so Tommy and I are doing this one show thinking we're exhausted. And I believe that God is trying to get us to think about a network.
Yeah.
This is the challenge that I want to put before everybody that's in our audience right now. Are you comfortable simply being a dreamer? Is that what we exist for? to complain about what we don't have and dream about what we think we should have, but not be willing to get into the game, to check yourself right in to the game of actualizing. Come on, what's our brother's name? Kendall Wright, the actualizer.
Actualize.
At some point, we've got to recognize that we've got to get our heads and our minds off of the dream, and we've got to get it into the place of actualization. And that's beginning to happen to me. There's some big news I'll be able to share, man, in the upcoming months.
Yeah.
But things are changing, because when our mindset changes, Tommy, the things that we do change.
So Eric, you struck a nerve with me because as you were sharing, as I was reflecting back to Dr. Wood's words and reflecting back to the question that we have, how was your week?
Right.
Full transparency, for the last 3 to 4 weeks, I've been in a little bit of a cloud.
Right.
Of amazement and bewilderness.
Woo.
Eric, there have been significant successes and blessings that I've been experiencing, that they've been coming fast and furious.
Woo.
I haven't had to sell terribly hard.
Right.
I haven't had to prove to the people who are asking for us to help them that I've done this, I do this is who I am. And I say that not just on the I statement, but as you were talking, I'm like, am I following chickens, or am I on the farm?
Right.
Because years ago, I was always dreaming about the farm.
Right.
So I'm asking myself right now, am I on the farm right now, Eric? And am I being guided to build on the farm? Am I living the dream, now being told to actually or actualize the structures on that farm? It's just like our great foreparents who were on land, their dream of milk and honey.
Right.
And then began to build civilization on that land. So the blessing was the earth, the gift.
Come on, somebody.
And then build on that. So as I listened to Dr. Wood, obviously he had the historical context.
Right.
And then I also thought too, Eric, just throw it back over to you too, as you were talking about him possibly being undervalued, I wonder if we would look back at the photos in history. Hear me now.
Yes, sir.
How many photos would he be in the backdrop with the half a dozen people? For real. So we see Dr. King and Abercrombie, all these folks.
Right.
But was he in the cut? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Always in those photos.
Right. That's Dr. King.
Yep.
That's him in the cut.
Yep.
You wouldn't even notice him if you didn't know him. He's there, right there, but not known by enough people, but in the picture.
There you go. There you go.
Let's bring in what Dr. Reggie has suggested to us about a takeaway.
Yeah.
Takeaway. The way he believes in framing things to inform the intentional actions we take in pursuit of achieving goals.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And for me, so the intentional actions we take in pursuit of achieving goals. I'll tell you that in my family, Jillian is the dad whisperer.
Yeah.
I say things. Judy sometimes is, what did you just say? And Jillian's like, Dad, Mommy, what Daddy said was ABC. And so I believe, and we've just met, but I believe that part of the role and part of what God has put me and Dr. Wood together is I feel like I'm the Dr. Wood whisperer.
Yes, sir.
That he says things and I can hear him.
Mhm.
We were in a meeting when we were meeting with some folks, and he said, "I want to do a video." He said, "I want to do it with me and this other Latinx leader and Eric Ellis." I said, "Time out, Dr. Wood." I said, "No, no, no. I'm not. You know, I don't need to be in the video with you and our friend here." I said, "Let you guys be the leaders, and I'll just be in the backdrop. I'll be a facilitator." He said, "Eric, shut up."
Mm.
He said, "You don't have the vision. I got the vision." I love that, Tommy.
Yes, sir.
That's that impatience. Shut up. You don't know the vision. I'm talking vision. I said, "Look, Dr. Wood." I said, look, I'm smiling. This is me smiling. I said, "There's nothing you can say to me that'll make me give up."
Nothing.
I said, "Whatever you say, sir, I'm going to be taking notes and listening." And he smiled. But I'll tell you, man, he said some things, man, that was so powerful. But he was saying something, two things that didn't seem like they tied together. He was talking about this vaccine thing that he's working on. 99% of the nation over the next 90 days either masked up or vaccinated. But then he was talking about this one love, one loaf concept, Tommy, that he actually presented here Thursday night, Saturday afternoon, Sunday night. He was talking about that. And then, Tommy, he said, and when we get together on Thursday night with the family, he said, we've got to ask two questions. What's happening good in our lives that we can celebrate? Tommy, where have you heard that before?
Yes.
And the second question you have to ask is, where are there challenges? Where do you have needs? And I just started crying, Tommy, because those were the three questions that I asked of the community of friends for 10 years.
Yeah.
And so as I was trying to tell my children about what he said, I stopped trying to tell them about what he said and I started doing it. Hey guys, what's happening good in your life?
Yeah.
So Tommy, when he said those two things, vaccines and this thing about the family, they didn't seem like, and the people were like, well, it seems like he's all over the place.
Yeah.
No. He's trying to tie these two together. In other words, here's the lesson from what he was saying. See, vaccines and masks have become political.
Right.
So if you just dive into that, you're just going to dive into a political debate and argument. But nobody debates love, and everybody's in need of that. And he was talking about, Tommy, I hope you're hearing this too, that we're not spending enough time with our families. He said that's the breakdown of society, that people in all of their different communities are missing the magic of the time to spend together with each other, having meaningful conversations. And so I said to them, those two tie together. In other words, as I'm loving my family and connecting with them, and each of us in our various communities are doing that, then masks and vaccinations are just another way to make sure that we demonstrate our love to one another. Come on, somebody.
Come on.
And so that's the power of what he was trying to say. Any other thoughts?
I think that we definitely have to bring them back.
Right.
For round 2, maybe round 3. It was a great opening to our now our 4th season of Diversity Conversations.
Right.
It was a great opening. I don't have much more to say. Still digesting some things. It was very powerful, and it was, again, a great launch. I want to shout out our community that's chiming in this early morning on Saturday.
Right. Let's see what we got here.
Yeah, we're showing up this morning.
Reginald Lewis is the model for today's needs. Any other leaders, Tommy, that you see that remind us of Dr. Wood today?
Yeah, good question. Particular names may not come to mind right now, but behaviors do.
Okay,
I'm going to share a quick story, as quick as I can, Eric, because this is on my heart. And in fact, I don't know the name of this gentleman, but I'll get to it very quickly. This past week, I attended a Cincinnati Bengals football game, which was on a Thursday.
Okay.
And at the football games, you have fans and you have those who are on the opposing side. And my wife and I were sitting in the area where it was a lot of people, but not too many people. You had a couple of seats empty in between rows and things like that. In our row, there weren't a lot of people. The row before us, the two rows before us, there were a couple of families, mom and dad, 2 little girls, mom and dad, 3 little girls ranging from maybe 8 years old to about 16. Behind us, 2 rows back, were 2 couples, and one of the young men, they looked like they were in their early 20s. Mm-hmm. One young man was using constant profanity. I'm talking about the profanity that you use that is not only inappropriate,
right,
but it's untimely. For example, I know when there's a bad play,
right,
there's a curse word that comes out.
Right.
This guy was cussing during the television timeouts.
For no good reason.
Eric, it was bad.
People to snap, man. People to snap down
and,
there.
You know, look, I'm not offended by language at all.
Right.
So I'm sitting there and, you know, he's behind me and my wife, and the words are landing like
right on top of you.
Yep. I look before me, and the 3 or 4 of the 5 young ladies, they keep turning back.
Right.
Every B word, F word, S word. You know, I mean, it's constant.
Right.
And they're turning beet red.
Right.
One of the mothers tries to cover the ears of her daughter. I had to be that guy, Eric.
I know, Tommy. I already know, Tommy. Describe it now. We got to hear it, man. This is like my best movies, man. Come on.
I had to be that guy. So to close out the story, when I turned around, I have a particular style of diplomacy, right? I can mix it up, but I have a particular.
You first come with some honor and respect. I know.
Honor, respect. Hey, I say, my man, my guy, you got some young ladies here and some women.
Right.
He said, what? I said, hey, you got some young ladies. You telling me what to say? No. Again, my nonverbals, no.
Right.
And he's leaning forward.
Right.
Now I'm like,
bruh,
you don't want to go there because I'll get kicked out. I can feel my wife is tense because she doesn't want me getting in trouble.
Right. But you're not nervous at all.
A leader showed up, Eric. I'm not talking about me. I'm talking about the father of one of the children, the girls. He turns around. This is a white guy. He may have been, early to mid 60s.
Right.
He turns around and says, hey, the guy is right. The language, right? And this guy is loud.
Right.
So the whole section can hear.
Right.
I share that example because the young man piped down. He wasn't going to pipe down when I was trying to be diplomatic. Right. He was actually wanting to be confrontational.
Right.
And he didn't want this smoke. He didn't.
Right.
Because I was in my Adidas and not my suit.
Loosened up. You was ready.
And I would have been called out of the audience to play football because, Eric, I played football. Right. Right. So, hey, we can knuckle up and buck heads.
That's not what we're trying to do in this environment.
That's not what we're trying to do in this environment. But sometimes the leaders are nameless, but their voice and action speak louder than anything.
Wow.
Not just their voice, but their actions.
Right.
When that happened, that young man piped down, the whole section area changed. I'll close. The Bengals were doing terrible the first half.
Right.
That young man ended up leaving, and our area after halftime became energetic. We were fans.
Y'all was the reason why we won that one.
That was the reason, E. I'm telling you, it's positive possibilities. Right? What are the positive opportunities that we are thinking about personally with our families? What positive can happen? What positivity can happen with our work? Thinking of positivity versus always recanting on the negative and the shoulda, coulda, wouldas.
Wow. Tommy, that is so powerful. And for anybody here that's watching this that's from Cincinnati, you know the Bengals have been horrible for years and years and years and years and years. And I believe they've been horrible for so long that the fans just come there depressed and negative. And it don't take nothing, does it, Tommy, for them to turn negative. Just turn negative, start cussing crazy. But because you confronted him, you confronted a spirit of negativity.
Come on.
And then when one person confronts that spirit, somebody else backs you up. And nothing about that was about physical fighting.
No.
It was about spiritual warfare. And then when that bad spirit left the stadium, now y'all started being able to be unified to give enough positive energy in that stadium that we felt it and saw it in our bedrooms as we watched them come back and do something that the Bengals never do. Come all the way back and kick a field goal to win. Our field goal kickers was always missing them and winning.
Always left, right, short.
We were going to find a way to steal, defeat from the jaws of victory. But that's so powerful, Tommy, that you tied in, man. What I saw, but I hear you, man. And I know we're not trying to overstate this, but it is appropriate and an appropriate fit, man.
So Dan Joyner says there's a leader in every seat, right? A leader in every seat. And I agree with that, right? Here's the other thing as a caveat as we move on, Eric.
Yes.
And I'm listening to myself here, and I know the audience is. When I made the decision to turn around and address this energy, this spirit, it was calculated.
Right.
I didn't know what was going to pop off. I didn't know what, but I promise you, as God as my witness, when I turned around and that young man stared at me and leaned forward, I saw what was in him.
Ooh.
I saw it, right? And my wife may have seen it. I saw it. In certain situations, you can see demons. And sometimes that courage juice, be it beer or wine or liquor or high, and the first thing that came out of my mouth, Eric, when he leaned forward and I saw him, I said, you may be drunk or you may be high or something else may be happening. But there are women here and children who are being offended. God was my protector. I saw not that young man.
Right. You saw the spirit that was driving.
I did. I saw the spirit.
Wow, man.
I saw the spirit.
Right.
And when I saw it, I had no fear. I had no fear at all.
Wow, man, that's powerful. Because right doesn't have to fear wrong.
No, sir.
Good does not have to fear evil. And so the relevance for everybody in our audience right now is that there are things that are chasing you in your life. There are things that are screaming negativity in your head. In the midst of this health pandemic that's got a grip on the America and the world, you do not have to be afraid. Sometimes you have to turn around and look the enemy in its eyes, and whatever that enemy is for you, it could be discouragement. Almost everybody in the nation needs counseling right now.
Yes, sir.
We are dealing with PTSD, man, and people are just acting out of some of that craziness and pain of being cooped up. Tommy, what you said to us is don't let the spirits within this world chase you.
Nope.
Sometimes you have to just turn around, no matter how you feel, because when you're going to confront evil, your heart starts beating.
Yes.
Because you don't know which way this is going to be. So fight, flight kicks in. Let me ask you this, Tommy, as we transition, man. I'll say this. I'll share this story and then ask you to react. So my son just got COVID this week. He went on a job interview and he caught COVID from the interviewer. I mean, how's that going to happen? You're trying to do the right thing, go out there, get a job, and now you get COVID. He did get the job, though, too. But my question to you, Tommy, is where are we, man? We were just at the Earth, Wind, and Fire concert yesterday. Had a lovely time in there, man. But we're at a place, man, where people just feel like they are tired. They're tired of masking. They're tired of vaccinations. They just want to try to be done with it. Where are we, Tommy, and why are we here in terms of our mindset? Because the new diversity issue right now, I heard from a lot of corporations this week, is vaccines, the vaccine mandates. What are your thoughts, Tommy, about where we are, man, and how we get through this?
So we're at a critical tipping point right now from a society perspective, Eric, that we being humans, not all of us, but we being humans, especially in America, because we're politicizing particular aspects of our reality, such as the COVID-19 global pandemic, social injustice, etc. What we're finding is that when we look at the diversity wheel, which begins with one's identity in the center, and then as we move out from the center of the wheel, we move into race, ethnicity, gender, education, political views, space, communication style. We go through the gamut.
Right.
Political views more so today have become a core belief and a identity perspective.
Right.
So what does that look like and how's that played out? So people who have not really experienced oppression and may have been privileged, they are equating this moment 2-3 years of having restrictions on some other long historical narratives of oppression, i.e. slavery, Jim Crow, etc. So for some of our privileged brothers and sisters,
you're saying something.
It is literally a cultural shock that what they have worked so diligently in the past to create for their own society today is being disrupted. This small moment of time is being disrupted. And so they're tying it to their political views. They're not tying it as much to religion.
Right.
They're trying to avoid that tie-in to race and ethnicity. So let me transition quickly. Those who have been oppressed historically, people of color in particular, blacks. There are blacks, African Americans, who are sick and tired of wearing a mask.
Right.
They too are politicizing the vaccinations, Eric.
Exactly, man.
They too have possibly forgotten the 500 years of oppression when back in the 40s, 50s, and 60s, our parents and grandparents said, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. This generation now, I don't care what your age is.
Right.
Us today now, we're tired faster.
We give up on everything.
What that looks like is, sure, we all get tired, but to what cost? At what cost? Does it cost us to be with our families the way we would like to, such that we're quarantined for 10 or 14 days?
Right.
Some of us may, contract COVID, Eric, and decide it's still not real and quarantining is not the reality.
Right.
We are living currently in a space and place of we're in the matrix right now. We don't know what we're doing, and we're simply taking either a red pill or a blue pill, hoping and praying that we're going to come out of this. We haven't tapped into the why we're here. And we as globally, Eric, why are we here? Not how did we get here, but
That's
why
powerful,
are we here?
brother.
Yep. So that's why I think it's really turning to earth, wind, and fire.
Wow. All I got to say is wow. And you know I got to slow the reel down.
Yes, sir.
Unpack, Dr. Crank, to unpack what Tommy Lewis just said. You said we're tired. So first of all, it reminds me of people that are being slowly gassed.
Yeah.
And you start going asleep to die. Tommy, where we are right now is that we have we've socialized ourselves through materialism and through a celebration of happiness and things and partying and all of that kind of living. And people don't want to invest enough energy into themselves, into things of value, and into their purpose. You see, that's the difference, Tommy. That's the difference that we're talking about. That when you've invested in hollow, temporal things, you don't have anything to stand on. And so now when you have a bit of a challenge, you're not really ready to face it. You're tired. We get too tired. Yeah. But tiredness is on the way to death. And so what we have to find in the midst of this, Tommy, is vision and purpose. And the other thing that we have to do is we have to tap our neighbor. Don't let them fall asleep, because that's not sleep, that's death. And so that's where we got to be, Tommy. I think, man, we've got to find our purpose. We've got to find things of value, because unless we find those, there's no good reason to really keep being inconvenienced by masks, by vaccines, and social distance. You see, when there's no other meaning in life, then why do that? And so that's kind of where we are to some extent.
Eric, we have to get our discipline back. So the lens that I'm speaking from a lot of this is from two areas. From an athletic perspective, be it you're a former athlete or you were in the military or you've gone through some rites of passage.
Right.
The discipline, mind, body, and soul, when all three get tired at the same time, that's when you have to work from a discipline perspective to get over it. Ask any athlete.
Woo.
You come to a wall, and you come to that wall where you believe you can't go any further, right? And you are always constricted by your own thoughts. Then you have other people outside of you that know you, maybe even better than you know yourself, and say, you can run another mile. You can push that weight a little bit more. You can withstand another day. In fact, our God says that he won't put in front of us anything we can't handle.
Right.
When we get tired, Eric, he's known us to say, stay with me, stay disciplined, don't lose focus, keep your eyes on me, and you will overcome. We lose focus. The second view that I have is as a business owner, an entrepreneur. What we do, Eric, and those others out there, you know, this is not for the faint of heart. It is incredibly exhausting.
Yes, it is.
Not only do you work alone a lot and have to work with people, but you have to deal with other people judging you constantly.
Right.
Why do I say that? If you have to wear a mask or a hat, if you have to have a vaccination, and many of us have had in our past, like hepatitis, measles, polio. Remember, we did get those vaccinations.
Right. Right.
Right? Tuberculosis,
Right.
Remember, those were mandatory.
Right.
Yes, some people forget. Everybody in America had to get that thing.
Right.
And we all have the bruise on our shoulder.
Right.
This vaccination, you don't have that bruise anymore.
Right.
But we've lost the discipline to either get better informed information, right? We've lost the discipline when we say we're going to do research to get research from those who know, not just opinions. And we lost the discipline of resilience, Eric, and stick-to-itiveness.
Right. Right.
Right.
And so all of that makes for a toxic cocktail.
Yes, indeed.
And so that's where we are. We've been drinking from the glass of materialism, money, fame, and so what that does, Tommy, is that makes you want instant gratification.
Mm.
And so then, if you're living in a world of instant gratification, the first challenge that comes along, you really are struggling to pass the test.
Yeah.
And then you add on top of that, Tommy, so we don't want to just add more depression on top of where people are right now. These kind of pandemics, health, COVID-19 pandemic, racial pandemic, inequity pandemic. You've now got PTSD that's running rampant through society, man. There's only, from my perspective, there's one real answer.
Indeed.
That's the thing that Dr. Wood sent me, a care package. He sent me his book, In Love, We Still Trust. In Love, We Still Trust. We got to love each other. And then he sent me this Holy Bible because I believe that God knows I ain't been in my Bible enough. And this is the African American Jubilee edition. And he's really the visionary behind this. And I believe God knew that if he sent me an African American Jubilee edition, that there was a higher probability that I might read it. Tommy, what I would say is that we need each other, man. You and I have enjoyed being with each other. Tommy, when we have gone through our slumps, because we now have a recent time frame to reflect on our slump of COVID-19 shutting the country down, shutting our businesses down. But we pivoted. We encouraged each other, and then we pivoted, and we drew up on our faith. And so here's what I want to say to some of you out there. You might find yourself in a struggle. I'm telling you, don't beat yourself up. That's not the answer. Get counseling if you need it. And all of us need it, actually. And I would say if you have a pastor, find that. If you got a friend, talk to them. Now, a friend is defined as somebody that's pulling for you and not against you. Anybody that's telling you because your marriage is having difficulty to give up is not a friend.
Yeah.
Anybody that's telling you because the job got difficult this week, you ought to quit, is not a friend. Friends are people that are just sometimes there to listen and shut up, but they're encouraging you because we all might find ourselves in this place of temporary depression, man, and anxiety. And that's to be understood because of the battle that we're in, Tommy.
Yeah, Eric,
I wanted to come back to Dr.
Absolutely.
Say what you were saying now.
This vaccination mask wearing event that we're experiencing, from a business perspective, it is absolutely becoming an HR challenge. It's becoming a business leadership challenge, Eric.
Absolutely.
And in short, companies who throw out the threat of all employees must be vaccinated.
Yeah.
If they do not follow up,
it's mayhem.
That is an open threat. And it's not a promise. And there will be, I think, significant pushback where folks, the leaders say, again, you will not be employed with us if you don't get a vaccination. And then 30% of your workforce decides not to get a vaccination. That 30% are eligible for termination.
Right.
And then when you try to replace or backfill those roles, if you can, There's going to be some time. You're going to be looking at 50 to 60% possibly of those folks not being vaccinated. Now your pool is even smaller. That position that you needed filled in a week is now taking a year. The people that you have on board already, the existing folks, they're doing the job of 3, 5, and 6 people.
Right.
Then they get burned out in 6 months and they leave. It's a tsunami.
It's a tsunami, man. We're seeing that right now, Tommy. I was just in a store. You know, I like discount shopping. So I'm in Ross, and they're saying at 5 o'clock, we'll be closing in 15 minutes. 15 minutes? They said we don't have enough people. We don't have enough people. Oh, my goodness. All right, I want to draw attention to this because I agree with him. Dr. Reggie says, Brother Tommy, I hear an article in your words, the impact of getting tired faster. Tommy, can we talk about that, man, around we've gotten tired. We're tired now from all the work that, and it feels like, and I know my wife, Judy, man, she's been around the clock, man. She's doing this job, a new job as a senior VP of diversity, equity, and inclusion for a company, a consulting firm out of England. So Tommy, she's working out of, 2 time zones, man.
Yeah.
Every day. She's working just throughout the day, and then I see her kill over. And then she just, roll over and back at it.
Yep.
I know that we don't feel like at this age we should be working this hard, and then we reflect on Dr. Wood. We're babies in his eyes. But Tommy, how have you sort of recharged yourself in the midst of getting tired, whether that was from working too hard or whether that was from just nervousness about economy and business? We all go through that as business owners.
Well, first, Eric, one thing that, my family often makes fun of me, but it's something part of my personality and my identity that I'm going to hold true until I die. I get my rest.
Okay.
All right.
Say it again.
I get my rest. So what does that mean?
Come
Eric,
on.
I've always been one that when I'm tired and I'm overtired and I'm overwhelmed,
right,
I can go to sleep like this, and I only need a strong 30 minutes, 45 minutes if it's a power nap.
Right.
So although there are scientists that talk about, human beings need 7 to 8, maybe 9 hours of rest, they also say that it doesn't always have to be consecutive 9 hours.
Okay.
Right? And so what I've done over the last years, and this started back when I was in Nashville, working with Vanderbilt Hospital and studying their physicians. They would always have pods where their physicians who were putting in 16, 18, sometimes 20-hour shifts.
Right.
These are these pods where you can go in and just get a power nap.
Right. I love that.
And I was watching like, you don't have to sleep for 8 hours? I said, no, we don't have time to sleep for 8 hours.
Right.
So I've embedded in my personality and my identity that when I get tired, I take a break.
Right.
I'm in my office right now, Eric.
Right.
I have a cot
right
in my office.
Right.
And I tell my staff all the time, when I need it, I got to get about 30 minutes, 45 minutes.
Yeah. I've done that.
I go to sleep I take off my shoes, relax,
Right.
put on a little, chill music,
That's
little jazz,
man.
and I'm out.
Right.
And that rejuvenates me.
Right.
Midday, mid-morning,
Right.
mid-evening, at night, early in the morning.
Right.
And so I find time to know myself and what re-energizes me.
Right.
Here's another re-energizer for me, Eric.
Okay.
Is that I drive to appointments now. We're doing some in-person consultation, training, coaching. And if it takes me an hour or an hour and a half to get there, Eric, I will drive an hour with no music, no sound, just me in the car.
Right.
Resting.
Right.
Find time for your peace. That's what I do. That's what I do.
Tommy, that's powerful, man. And we've enjoyed golfing together.
Yes, sir.
And I think we're going to get out there tomorrow, I believe.
Yep.
And that's rest that we have, man. Just really being out there with somebody I love, having a peaceful conversation. I remember our last round. I was asking Tommy, should we invite just a random stranger into our little group? Tommy said, "Whoa, I've been working with strangers all week, bro." I'd rather not start loading them up and have to go right into workshop mode.
Yeah.
Because they're gonna say something crazy that's gonna, force us to have to do some teaching out here.
And Eric, I had some bias about that too. When you asked me, I looked over at the gentleman and I projected a bias. I said to myself, "Oh Lord, he's a talker."
Right.
I don't want to talk right now.
Right.
I want to make these bad shots.
Right.
And I want to keep it moving.
Right.
But again, thank you for bringing it up because I was at peace.
Right.
And it was easy breezy.
Right. Right. And we've got to selfishly get those spaces. Sometimes when we get almost guilty of me time and getting your rest. I'll just say this again like a broken record. They say if the plane is going down, put your oxygen mask on first. And I'm going to say to people right now that many of you out there are struggling to just keep climbing up that mountain, and oftentimes all by yourself. You got to go see, here's the thing, Tommy. Now, I'm going to tell you this, Tommy.
Yep.
People assume that my life is always going great.
No, they don't, E. No, they don't.
They assume in my life, they see me, I'm smiling. And so they assume that you and I are not in the battles that we're in. I just fight with a smile on my face. And sometimes when I'm on the bottom of life, I'm still smiling. I mean, they got a pile on me, man. I'm hitting them in the ribs. I'm trying to pull their whiskers, trying to pull the eyelashes. Whatever I
throwing
get
the flag, throwing the flag, throwing the towel.
Get me out of this fight, man. I'm being pummeled. I'm literally being pummeled sometimes in life.
Yep.
And it doesn't matter if that life is economic or if that life is relationship or if that life is what's happening in the lives of others that you love. Why is that though, Tommy? I mean, really, man, people just assume you can't smile like this unless everything is going well for you. Yep. I can tell you this, man, I got to smile through the tough times. I got to find joy in difficulty. I cannot give up, and I cannot let the enemy, the spirit of the enemy, win.
Cannot.
That's what you did, Tommy, when you turned around and looked at that man. You looked at the spirit, you looked right into the eyes of defeat, evil, and anger, and with a calm look on your face. He knew who he was looking at, Tommy.
He did.
He knew who he was looking at.
Yep. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not telling you what to say. I'm asking you to consider your impact on the next generation.
Okay, right.
Maya Angelou said that people don't always remember what you've done.
Right.
They don't remember what you said, but they will always remember how you made them feel. It was my job to make him feel that he was valued. I'm not trying to disrespect you.
Right.
And also make others feel that they are seen. Those young ladies were ashamed and embarrassed. I was that guy. I'm not taking praise for that, Eric.
No,
what I'm asking is,
right.
I'm asking that as a community, as a people.
Right.
Let's not get too tired to stand up for righteousness. In society, in the workplace, in our own homes. You don't have to fight every fight, but when we know there's a principality of wrongness and possibly even evil, it is our duty and our responsibility to say, ouch, to say, hold up, hey, right? To honk your horn, right? Just to beep, beep, I'm here, we're here, what's going on? Because that part of your question before, Eric, around folks in vaccines and masks. I think we in general, we have lost that sensitivity of how our energy and spirit, let alone our actions and words, how it is indeed impacting others. Science is saying that we're looking at our educational system, our kiddos are looking at a 18 to 24 month loss of learning due to COVID. Right. So I mean, 2020 we were out, we came back and we tried to start. We have stop, and then now, although we are in schools, maybe, but we're in schools, we're still trying to catch up to a year and a half of time lost and learning a different way, that we're not in front of the class, we're not with our peers, we're not with our teachers, our educators. We were learning, looking at a dot on a laptop, looking at a 11-inch screen for 8, 9, 10 hours a day, not prepared for the mental fatigue and tiredness. We're getting tired faster.
There it
because
is.
We're communal people. Man.
Well, that's powerful, man. Thank you, Dr. Crane, for that. Tommy's going to be writing that article.
Yes, sir.
Here's the last word that I want to say. Tommy, I want you to share your last word with our audience. The last word I want to share is give yourself and others more grace. Understand that you're in a fight.
Yeah.
Sometimes you may not feel like you can get to the end. But if you just turn around and look your opponent, your challenge in the eye and say, I'm just confronting you. You got to stop that. Other people will join you. Give other people in your families grace. We are in a battle, y'all. Don't beat each other up. Let's lock arms, stand together. Tommy, what do you have as we wrap up?
My last words is basically a challenge for today. This is Saturday, October the 2nd, 2021. The challenge of today is to, in your respective lives, pay it forward today. Pay it forward. I will challenge all of us, our community, when you go out and you grab a bite to eat, or you're at a retail store, pay it forward. Take care of someone's meal that's before you or after you.
Right.
Gift them with a blessing that you've received.
Right.
I'm going to do that. I ask that of Eric. I ask that of our community. Right. Just go ahead. 5 cents, $10, it doesn't matter. Make someone's spirit lift because you said, I got you. That's the challenge for today.
I love it. Well, thank you for sticking with us today. Community, we love you. Every week, we know that you're going to carry us across the finish line. We want you to join us next week. Same bat time, same bat station, as Tommy Lewis, Eric Ellis will be facilitating, leading, talking about diversity conversations. Take care now.
Take care.